Welcome to Mill History Talk, the podcast where we explore the past to better understand the profession of arms today. We dive into the campaigns, conflicts, issues, and commanders that have shaped military thinking across centuries, and why it all still matters. Whether you're an officer in training, a seasoned professional, a student of strategy, or simply curious about how history informs modern warfare, this space is for you. Our mission is simple: to foster insight, reflection, and critical thinking primarily through the lens of military history. Before we begin, a quick note. The views expressed in this podcast are of the podcast writers, hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any government agency or organization. So, whether you're listening in a barracks, a lecture hall, at the gym, or in your car on the way to work, welcome. We're glad you're here. Welcome back to Mill History Talk, where history isn't dusty. It's drama, strategy, and power plays. And yes, I'm Hope, and this is episode 59, and yes, I am once again behind the book review desk. At this point, I've accepted that this is a permanent assignment. Apparently, the non-paying nature of the position is discouraging applications. Shocking. Truly shocking. Brian says the compensation is intellectual fulfillment. I say Venmo is also intellectually fulfilling. Today we're diving into Sean Naylor's Relentless Strike, published in 2013, one of the most significant and controversial books ever written about Joint Special Operations Command, or JSOC. This book is a great companion to last episode's discussion of OIF because special operations was a key component of JDO counterinsurgency operations. And no, this is not just a cool guys with night vision goggles story. This is about institutions, adaptation, bureaucracy, secrecy, power, and how failure can become fuel. Which, if you've listened to this podcast for more than 5 minutes, you know is my favorite theme. Naylor's central argument is clear and pretty bold. JSOC transformed from a reactive headquarters born out of the humiliation of the 1980 Iran hostage rescue failure, Desert One, into a relentlessly efficient counterterrorism machine that reshaped how America conducts war. It didn't just conduct raids, it built a system. And that's the key word, system. The book walks us through JSOC's creation after Desert One, the maturation of Delta Force and SEAL Team 6 in the 80s and 90s, the massive expansion after 9/11, and the Iraq War transformation under General Stanley McChrystal. One of the strongest sections details what Naylor calls building a network to defeat a network in Iraq. Intelligence analysts, operators, surveillance teams, targeting cells, all fused into a single operational cycle capable of near-continuous raids. This is institutional learning on caffeine. If Clausewitz had been around for PowerPoint, he would have underlined friction and then quietly admired how JSOC tried to compress it. First, the access. Naylor interviewed a remarkable number of former and current special operations personnel. The level of operational detail, within classification limits, is impressive. You get personality, tension, rivalry, adaptation. Second, and this is important, he focuses on institutions, not just individual operators. He doesn't turn it into a memoir of heroic door kickers. He shows how leadership reforms, intelligence integration, and relentless iteration created operational excellence. For military professionals, this is gold. For students of organizational adaptation, also gold. The book reads like a political military thriller, but it doesn't sacrifice analysis. That balance is hard to pull off. Now let's talk about the uncomfortable part. This book caused friction inside the special operations community. Some objected to the exposure of sensitive methods, the naming of units and structures, the portrayal of internal rivalries, and the perception that some leaders got more credit than others. JSOC operates in the shadows, and when someone turns on the light, even a dim academic light, people get nervous. There's a broader tension here. How much of secret war should be written about at all? And that's not a trivial question. Transparency helps democracy, but transparency also feeds adversary analysis. That tension runs quietly beneath the entire book. Now, here's where a critically thinking reader needs to lean forward. Because as strong as Relentless Strike is, it has limitations. The book focuses overwhelmingly on operational success, tactical execution, process efficiency, targeting cycles. What it gives less sustained attention to, the long-term strategic consequences of the kill/capture model, the civil-military implications of a highly autonomous strike apparatus, the political feedback loops created by persistent targeted killing, and the second and third-order effects on regional stability. Naylor does address detainee abuse controversies and friction with conventional forces, but these are not the core of the analysis. And that matters. Because it's one thing to build a machine that works tactically, it's another thing to ask, what does this machine do to strategy, to policy, to institutions over time? If you're looking for a deep normative critique of targeted killing policy, this book won't fully give you that. You'll need to supplement it with broader strategic and civil-military scholarship. A critically thinking reader should absolutely ask, does operational excellence equal strategic success? What are the long-term political costs of industrialized manhunting? And what happens when shadow warfare becomes normalized? History is full of institutions that optimized for efficiency without fully examining strategic drift. And if you know anything about this podcast, you know I am allergic to tidy narratives of inevitability. So where do I land? Relentless Strike is essential reading for military professionals, students of counterterrorism, scholars of organizational adaptation, and policy analysts studying post-9/11 warfare. It is not a purely academic theoretical work, and it is not an operator memoir. It's an institutional case study of evolution under pressure. And it forces us to confront something uncomfortable. Modern warfare increasingly operates in the shadows, and the systems built there shape the future of conflict in ways we are still trying to understand. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Buy it, but read it critically. Admire the institutional learning, study the innovation, and then ask the harder strategic questions, because history isn't just about what worked, it's about what it cost. And that's episode 59. I'll be here at the book review desk indefinitely, apparently, working for prestige, vibes, and the occasional Clausewitz reference. Follow, subscribe, share this with your favorite counterterrorism nerd, and I'll see you next time.